And I would say it's not about whether they've had education, it's about whether the education they had teaches them skepticism of information and teaches them how to inquire. You realize it's just as intellectually lazy to believe everything you see as it is to deny everything you see. Why should someone know automatically that Earth isn't flat, yet I tell them in the next breath that the entire universe was once as small as a marble, right? Both of those sound equally preposterous, except one has evidence to back it and the other does not. Very strong scientific, theoretical, and experimental underpinnings. So when you are trained to inquire, you don't either believe everything outright or reject everything outright. You're trained to ask a question. You're trained to probe deeper than the layer of information that comes to you. That's what should be taught in school, and it's not. They give you a book and say, learn this, and you'll get tested on it. And then when you're done, learn this.
To see the world, a grain of sand, a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. I don't think God rested on the seventh day, Bernard. I think he reveled in his creation, knowing that someday it would all be destroyed.
And welcome back to another episode of the Juan Podcast. I'm your host as always. Make sure to follow me on social media at the Juan Podcast on all social media platforms. Patreon.com/the Podcast, Rockfin.com/the Podcast. All that good shit. You know where to fucking find me, okay? And today we got ParanoidAmerican, which is a regular to the show. We already have a show, the Occult Book Club. If you haven't checked that out, we talk about dog dicks, grimoires, all that good shit, homunculus, all that good stuff. Thomas, can you plug your stuff real quick, and then we'll let Moral Bob plug his stuff too?
You covered it, man. We're doing a deep dive on all sorts of conspiracy theories that have to do specifically with dog dicks. We're going to be maybe working on a comic series, a book series, maybe even a full podcast series all about dog dicks. So look out for that to come soon. ParanoidAmerican.com for all the latest details on that. And then at ParanoidAmerican on Instagram, although they keep taking the account down whenever we post the dog dicks. It's kind of fucked up. But follow us. Let's fight the power together.
Fight the power. Right on, dude. Moral Bob, welcome to the first time on the show. What's up, dude? Can you plug your social media so people can find you?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, dude. I am Moral Bob. You can find me on Instagram at the Hidden Pod. My other pages have been deleted without warning. They just axe my shit. So when my last page got deleted, my at the Hidden Pod became my main page, and my new backup page is at Space is Fake and Gay, all together. My podcast is hidden in plain sight. You can get it on all your podcatchers. And I just talk about crazy shit that they don't want us talking about.
Have you seen how many hidden in plain sight podcasts there are, bro?
I was the first one. It's
Really?
all just to take away from me. Yep.
So space is fake and gay, or is it gay and fake? Like, how does that work, bro? Because I know you're real vocal about flat Earth, and Thomas here, he's got a hard on for flat Earthers, so we wanted to have him on just so he can take a crack at it. But what's the whole thing? Because I mean, you know, I'm in Florida. I've been to Kennedy Space Center, and I've done all that shit. It's a lot of work for it to be fake, bro. What
It is. And there's a reason. I mean, so it's definitely fake, and it's provably fake, quite easily provably fake. I mean, just fucking Elon Musk said you could tell it's real because it looks so fake. Like, if that's not an alarming admission, I don't know what is. But the gay part is really just because that was starting to kind of, it's fake and gay was starting to be kind of what people said, and then Bob's Lessons has a shirt that says space is fake and gay. And so when I created my new page, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try to piss them off right off the bat and see how quick I can get this freaking page deleted. So I was like, fuck it. If y'all aren't going to let me talk about this shit, I'm going to go hard. So, but yeah, I mean, NASA is, if nothing else, it's a giant money laundering campaign. It's just I mean, they are flush with cash. They have a $53 million a day budget. And hold on. We're gonna have to. Yes.
You're good, bro.
Can you sing it for Daddy?
No, baby girl, you got to go to bed, okay?
This is real shit, people.
All right.
Can you sing Daddy this one?
This is unscripted.
My daughter
reality
is
right here.
My daughter is apparently trying to sing me a song now,
That's so sweet.
but she's got stage fright like her dad. Hey, all right. I love you, baby girl. You go to bed, okay? Oh, she's bummed.
I know the struggles, bro.
She's singing, "Daddy's doing a podcast," like singing a song.
We're gonna leave.
Is she bummed because it's bedtime
real
or what?
shit,
Yeah,
ladies and
man, it's
gentlemen.
real. I don't edit my show either, man. Yeah, that's the way to do it. They rarely interrupt me, so I knew it was something big. So leave it in. But yeah, I mean, NASA has a $53 million a day budget, and now they don't have that budget and don't spend it. They have that budget and they spend it. And they admit none of their pictures are real. They admitted that the blue marble was fake when they got caught doing that. Like, it's all nonsense. You know, you got a $53 million a day budget and you lost or destroyed the tapes from the moon landing. Seriously? Like, we still have shit like the Constitution in Lincoln's hat, but we don't have the biggest thing humans have ever done. Like, are you serious? And we lost all the telemetry data. Lost it. Just lost rooms full of books with
The dogs ate
freaking,
it.
like, it's just gone. They misplaced it like your car keys. Like it's just nonsense. And then if you look at like all of the videos, like, it's just, and I didn't even look at NASA when I first kind of got turned on to the whole flat earth thing. NASA was something that I just started looking at like when I got into the flat earth community, and inside of the flat earth community, everybody makes fun of NASA because it's so stupid. But like what really got me where I am now was just the preponderance of evidence. Like I like numbers. And so when I first heard Flat Earth Dave start talking about all of the movement that we make in the universe, okay, the Earth is fucking going all over the place, all crazy, right?
It's a pancake, though, right? It's a pancake spin. It's like a frisbee in space, or no?
No, that's Flat Earth Society fucking bullshit. That is a psyop to distract you from the true Flat Earth community.
So you guys
The
have
stuff
denominations within the flat Earth community as well?
No. The Flat Earth Society is a government-created thing. And the whole idea of a pancake flying through space or rising at 9.8 seconds per second, that's fucking nonsense. No flat earther actually believes that shit. Like, that's stupid.
Is there a shape that's under any sort of agreement that the Earth is?
Flat. Now, is it an infinite plane? I don't know. Are we inside of a cosmic egg? Maybe. But I know this motherfucking ground that we stand on is flat. I know we're not. And we aren't some ball hurling through space. That's fucking stupid, and it's easily disproven.
And it's
just
gay,
through
you gotta
observable evidence. So you can't see curve at all. Now they'll say that you can see a ship sail over the horizon at 3 miles away. But then they also say that even 100,000 feet up, you can't see curve. Which is it? It can't be both. And spheres, what we're supposed to be on, a sphere, spheres curve in all directions at the same rate. It's the only thing that makes it a sphere, is that there is a curve that is so perfect and equal in every direction that it all meets at the bottom. That's what makes it a sphere. Yet, when you look at the horizon, it's flat as fuck. When you look at city skylines, they're flat. You know, and these stretch, depending on the horizon that you're looking at. You can look at a horizon that's like freaking 100 miles. And the amount of curve that should be at 100 miles is over a mile of curve. and we can't see it. Like that's pretty astounding that you can see, 50, even 10, 15 feet. I mean, 10, 15 miles of horizon, like a city skyline, like New York City from one end to the other is like 15.7 miles. There should be over 100 feet of drop from one side to the other. And there's not. It's not there. All the buildings are parallel. You can't have
Maybe
parallel
they did the
buildings on a
foundation
ball.
even, bro? Like when they built on Tartaria?
Well, I've talked about that. And the only way that they could make all of the buildings have the same level, because on a ball, if you're standing 10 feet away from me, my level's different than your level. It's going to be two different levels. Now, it might only be a slight deflection, but it's two different levels. And if you've ever built anything, you build it on level, and whether it's 10 feet or 100 feet, you check level all the way across, and that's how it's fucking straight. It would be, even at 100 feet, you should be able to measure curve, and you can't. There is no measurable curve or spin. No instrument on this earth can measure the spin, and we travel like 8.6 billion miles a year. Billion with a B. Yet the sky is exactly the same as it was 10,000 years ago when we had traveled trillions of miles. We have traveled tens of trillions of miles in the past even 1,000 years. Yet the stars are exactly the same. Exactly the same. They're in the same place. They're the same shape. They haven't moved or stretched even. Nothing. They're exactly measurably the same as they were in the times of the Egyptians when the Great Pyramids were built, which it could be, because dating is so fucked up, the pyramids could be 5,000 years old, 100,000 years old. Who knows? It could be 100 years old.
This is one point that I'm really interested in, because it seems like specifically the star's not moving for thousands of years. If the source of that is the same kind of source that we're going to dispute for, keeping a record of history, what makes it so that the historical record of the placement of stars is accurate, but everything else is inaccurate?
Touche, good sir. That is a very valid point, because I trust fucking nothing. But I've been on this earth, this plane of existence, for 43 years. Do you know how many miles we've traveled in 43 years? It's a lot.
Well,
just calculate
this is a little bit related.
8.6 billion by 43.
So this is related to some of the other things that we were talking about, and that's everyone else on this meeting right now is probably way better at math than I am. No matter how bad you think you are, I'm even worse than you are. But I guess my assumption from a very naive standpoint would be that if we're basing everything on our visual inspection, that maybe the human eye or the human brain has adapted to, uncurve things so that we can see it in straighter lines just for our own perception, and that is there not some scientific tool that can actually measure this curvature better than the human eye? And then as far as the speed flying through space, that's a great point. I have no idea how to even approach that. My only fallback would be the theory of relativity, which I'm only restating, which I've seen on documentaries and cartoons my whole life. But it's essentially that if you're on a moving train that's going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I throw you a tennis ball, that tennis ball doesn't go to you at 1,000,000 miles an hour because it's relative. Like the speed that we're moving at is
I love
like a
this
separate,
example.
isolated idea versus what we're on, inside this little train booth.
Okay, so you're admitting that it's an enclosed system? Like it's got a hard cover over it? No.
Oh, you mean
the train?
The train? Yeah. Let's go with that as an analogy.
It's an enclosed system, so it's got its own atmosphere separate from the atmosphere outside of it. Right. So it's nothing like what we are living on. So it's really a poor analogy because it is an enclosed system separate from the atmosphere outside of it. Also, that only worked when the train is moving in a straight line. Have you ever ridden on a train?
Yeah, but I understand the train analogy to be an oversimplified visual thing, because the theory of relativity doesn't include a train. It's just about the speed of light, isn't it?
Not well. It's also still a theory. So it's not a law. Hasn't been proven. It's just a theory. It holds as much weight as the history of stars.
So
So
here's
if
the
you want
thing
to
with
apply that, like it's the theory
Well,
of
like
relativity.
let's say we're
just
driving
has
in a
that.
car 100 miles an hour down the freeway, and I
Sure.
toss you a ball.
Okay.
That isn't that sort of a representation of
No, because we're not
No.
going in a straight line. Do that. Do 100 miles an hour in a circle like this, and try to throw me something. See what happens.
and going in a straight line all at the same time.
And while the car is going like this, so you're going like a parking garage. How parking garages, you go like this to go up to the top.
Yeah,
basically,
we're talking about centrifugal
So-
force right now.
So let's say you're doing 100 miles an hour up a parking garage spiral that's 100 miles high. Could you toss me a ball and I could catch it? Probably
So
not.
in that same analogy, isn't every and I can't answer your question. I've got no idea. In that same
Probably not.
analogy, isn't the parking garage and all the parking garages around it and everything also traveling at the exact same speed? So it's all relative. Like it's not
No,
just
they're not
the
moving.
car that's traveling upwards. No.
Well, then there would be no movement. Then I wouldn't transverse up the parking garage. But that's not how it works. I can go up a parking garage. I can come down a parking garage. Like my main thing is I get people that attack me on Instagram all the time. I get a bunch of shills and trolls, and they hit me with a couple things, and it's pretty astounding that I have to be able to explain everything, while most globers don't have to prove the two main parts of their theory: curve and mass, creating gravity.
That's the benefit of
Like,
just falling back
that's-
on accepted science for hundreds of years. Is they
Right.
don't have to come up with it. They'll just be like,
It's not
"Open
accepted.
a book, bro."
But it's not accepted science for the past 100 years. When you actually start digging into the science, they only started teaching the ball in the 40s and 50s. And I would even say that they only started teaching the ball until Admiral Byrd came back from his exposition and was like, I fucking found some more shit. Like, I found another freaking country that's not supposed to be down there. And they were like, nobody can go down there anymore. Okay, let's send a bunch of warships. Oh yeah, Admiral Byrd, you're fucking dead. Let's send a bunch of
Forrestal, too.
warships. Yeah,
What was
let's
up with Forrestal? Because we always focus on Admiral Byrd, but we don't talk about Forrestal, which he was the one that ordered everything for Admiral Byrd as well. He was the
Yep.
head honcho, and he jumped off. They put him in a hospital or something. He jumped off the fucking top floor and he just killed himself.
Yeah, man. Dead men tell no tales. So, Admiral Byrd went down there and found that shit, talked to the freaking people that are beyond Antarctica, and they were like, And if you go on Amazon, there's some crazy shit. I'll send you the name of the movie later, okay? But my wife and I will spend an hour watching trailers of movies on Amazon until we decide to pick a movie. We'll just watch trailers. And the other day we were watching trailers to movies that came out in the 50s and 60s. And there is a movie about these Navy pilots that were flying over Antarctica, and they went past Antarctica and encountered dinosaurs, pterodactyls and shit. So it was crazy to watch, and it was Antarctic trip finds prehistoric land or something was the description. And it's just holy shit.
So Bob,
they would never allow that now.
What do you think? I mean, does it really make a difference if it's round or flat? Because I mean, I've had Weiss on, I've had Sargent on, but the thing is, I think this is just another psyop to have us arguing with each other, about the shape of the Earth. What does it matter if it's flat or not?
The main part, more land. We're not on some fucking rock where we have this scarcity of land they're trying to sell us. There's more land right there. It's right there. It's a day trip to get to it. You could get there on a freaking, a 12-hour flight. It's right there on the other side of Antarctica.
You hinted at this a little bit earlier, and I haven't found any sort of definitive answer on this. There might not be one, but is it literally just an infinite plane of land that goes on forever? Are there various theories?
It's
where
impossible
does
to
that
know.
come from?
It's impossible to. A lot of ancient maps. So again, ancient maps. Are we to trust them? Are they just more bullshit? But again, I don't need any of that.
To me,
because
it's
you
such an
cannot
important
see
delineation.
curve or measure spin.
Well, let me just. I just want to make a strong point on this, because to me, the concept of an infinite plane is just as mind blowing as the concept of infinite space.
It is.
At that point, I don't care about a
but
sphere
it's less
versus
controlling.
a plane.
But then it's less controlling, because you can just say we can just sail to land. We can just go there. Like it's not that big of a deal.
If it's
not
infinite,
fucking.
you'll never get there.
It's
because
not
that there is forever.
It's not a prison planet. If we are a rock hurling through space, it takes space fucking travel, because we have to travel through the vacuum of space, which is just nonsense. I can get into that.
I feel like this is a strong point of contention here, though, because I'd argue that infinite space and infinite land, the concept of infinity is a prison. It means that you have no idea how to get out of it, how to get to the beginning. There is no beginning and end.
But it's like the settlers of America, right? At least so we're told. There was apparently just nothing here, natives, but the people that were inhabited, that were about to take this motherfucker over, they didn't care. So they just showed up and were like, holy shit, look at all this land. And to them, it was infinite. Hey, we're heading west, man. We're going that way. We're going to continue to settle shit. And then you run out, right? Well, we don't know if we'll ever run out, but we're not allowed to go. So we're held as prisoners on this planet, this plane T.
So another implication of that I find really fascinating is that seems to mean that anyone who's on the other side of the Arctic wall or whatever is also either being held prisoner by their own authorities, or there's something that's preventing.
Maybe they're just greater beings. Maybe they're just greater beings. I have a chessboard kind of game board theory, where the people that actually control our realm live outside of fucking Antarctica, and they're just sitting out there like, fucking tell them there's a virus. They're like, okay, let's stir up some Ukraine shit. Maybe all of this is coming from shit outside, and we're just some experiment that everybody outside.
The real Illuminati is outside the wall.
We could be living in a legit fucking Truman Show. All of this is created, and they're just all watching us like Earth is a TV show for the motherfuckers outside of it. It's like Hunger Games or whatever, where it's this enclosed system, and they're just throwing shit out there. Tell them the most free they can be is democracy, and they just vote for their slave masters every 4 years. Tell them that. Tell them that.
So does that mean that there's an open line of communication between like the upper echelon of the outside the Arctic wall and inside the Arctic wall?
I think so. I think that's what the top levels of some of these secret societies could be. They could be the esoteric ones that have.
We got a Freemason with us here.
Yeah, I know.
Pipe down, you pipe down.
I know. I'm aware.
But check this out.
I've got a black mark on me now.
So check this out. It's all right, bro. I love you. I wanted to bring something up because this is a weird synchronicity. I mean, I didn't really think that we were gonna. I mean, I knew we were gonna talk about flat Earth today, but this idea that there's a hyper dimension, right, where these elites actually go to. I've been digging into for a long time. I mean, Tracy Twyman's work, where she talks about this hyper. I forgot the name she has. I think she calls it a hyperdimension. I forget the name that she uses. But she talks about that. And I wanted to ask you, Thomas, because I don't know if you've come across this, but last night I was reading an article of hers where she talks about there being 3 pillars instead of the 2. And that there's a pillar within the center toward the left, obscured by one of the pillars. Now, and no, why are you laughing?
Oh, we're not allowed to talk about that one, man.
I think there's some credibility to that idea, because it's the Holy Trinity.
Yes. So what it shows is it's a pillar slightly offset to the left. Now, in the alchemical pictures, it shows a ladder leaning up against what it looks like nothing. But again, it's all about perspective, and if you have eyes to see, you're gonna see type of shit. So it shows a ladder, right, hanging against nothing, up towards this portal somewhere, right? So like the whole thing is, it's supposed to be representative of the center pillar of the tree of, like, the Kabbalistic tree of life, where there is a higher, the true high enlightenment, whatever the fuck that means. But again, back to this falseness, right? This, again, Truman-esque, Truman Show-esque type thing, where it's like, when you get, there's that door, but you won't know unless you go to the door and you know where it's at. Like, if you know where the fuck it's at, which is the whole thing with secret societies and the whole hidden in plain sight, right? That's the whole fucking thing, where they put these things out there, and only the, you know, I was reading last night on Rosicrucian symbology. You know, it was this book from 1916, I think it was, and it said that all these symbols that they put out there for the uninitiated, right? They're for the initiates. For the uninitiated, they're just symbols. They just look like regular fucking things. But for the initiated, right, the people, the initiatives, the initiated people, to them it's a whole new world, right? I mean, we talk about alchemy and all this shit where it's just about hidden symbolism. So all this to say that I do think what Thomas is getting onto, where there's this open line of communication, maybe perhaps that is the whole Baphomet thing, you know, Metatron, or all these higher entities, right? Cthulhu, for all we fucking know, where it is these entities that are outside the fabric of space and time per se, right? Whatever it may be, that are in communication with the elites, because we know that they're up to shady ass shit, and we know that they do fucked up things. So, I mean, I don't know. Have you heard of that third pillar, Thomas, by any chance?
I've never heard of that. The Truman Show
you
analogies.
He always
yeah,
does
so
this,
like
Bob.
you can't believe me. Yeah.
He always does this, bro. I'll like feed him something. He'll be like, no, never heard of it. No, okay, all right.
Yeah,
no,
it's
but honestly, you brought up a couple of things that I want to ask Bob, because
Sure.
they bring up some really interesting points to me. One is, does the flat Earth or the Arctic wall, does any of that invalidate like extraterrestrial UFO type? Like, if there's no space, or if we're not a ball, do aliens still come down to us? And if they're coming, where are they coming from?
Well, they're coming from the extra territories that are outside of the ice wall.
So, but does this mean that there's no, like, there would be no extraterrestrials coming from like a separate planet? Like,
There's no proof.
There's just one
Space-
planet.
Space has no proof. There's no proof, no real proof of space. When you really start digging in, and really start investigating NASA and what they have to offer, you realize there's no real solid evidence of space. It's all fake, and they admit it. They say that it's composites, and composites from whatever, and it's like, it's nonsense, like all of it, like just like. So Elon Musk has been sending a lot of fucking rockets up lately.
That's my dad, bro.
And
Yeah, talk about his dad, bro.
and he landed one on a fucking barge just floating in the water, all willy-nilly, like recently. And you can see this fucking giant thing that's supposed to be like billions of pounds. Like, this is a fucking huge goddamn rocket. And it just like couple fucking just lands all perfect on a floating fucking barge. And then if you
they've
really
got
look,
aircraft carriers out in the middle of the ocean that have got like
that is
40
not the
jet
same
zones,
thing.
right?
That
No?
is not the same
Okay.
thing. No, not at all. And then when you see this barge floating in the water and it lands, and it's like, and lands, it lets out the exhaust, the dust clears, and it's landed. There's not a single fucking ripple in the goddamn water. Not one. This massive thing just blew tons of thrust, massive amounts of thrust down onto this barge to make it just kind of just land all gentle like, when it weighs just like thousands of tons. It just lands all gentle, and not a single ripple.
It's all like a special
it's CGI,
effects.
man.
Okay.
It's all bullshit. Like, not a single ripple. Like, thousands of pounds of thrust from the engines, thousands of tons in the rocket, landing on a floating barge, and not a single ripple occurred in the water. Not one. Like, that alone is absolute scientific proof that that shit is fake, because physics would tell you that is fucking impossible. It's
So
just
other
not
than
possible.
the YouTube people, obviously that's the only one. I watched what was it, the Next Level documentary, or Next Level, something like that. The other
Did
day.
you watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it. Has there been any NASA or SpaceX whistleblowers that have come out saying that it's all a hoax? Because my whole thing is it's such an elaborate scheme. And then every time you keep mentioning they, Bob, are you talking about lizards? Are you talking about the elites? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about the Illuminati? Like, who are they?
They are the ones that shall not be named, man. They tell us that in fucking Harry Potter. Like, we don't know the names of the people that actually pull the strings. If you had enough power to control an entire world, do you think you'd be stupid enough to let people know who you are? Like,
Get in
no.
plain sight, I mean,
Like,
maybe.
Well, how big of a population are we talking here? Because if it's like 8 dudes or 12 dudes on the other side of the wall that are pulling the strings, I could see them keeping a tight ship. But if it's billions like it
Who
is
knows?
with humans,
Like
how,
I said,
how do billions of them not
Earth-
want to come and talk to us?
Earth could, and they could. Do you know how many alien sightings and abductions are reported every year that just go as like National Enquirer bullshit? Like, we're talking tens of thousands. They are coming here. It's just written off as some fucking crazy people shit. Like,
Would you say that the Greys and the reptilians and everything, are those maybe just different species from beyond the wall, or is that all psyop stuff as well?
Greys were created by Aleister Crowley. He was the first one to ever draw the cone-headed, the like fucking popcorn seed, like a corn
Lamb.
nugget.
So did he invent
frickin'
that,
piece
or
of
did
head.
he?
I
see
think he
one?
did, and I think humans have a very powerful brain, and also if we have this thing in our head and they're powerful enough, they're going to show themselves to us in a form that we're comfortable with. If they have fucking 17 tentacles coming out of their face, they're not going to freaking show up as that form. They're going to show up with one where people go, oh, fucking alien. Look at that. They're not going to show up as like the Predator, where his fucking mouth is just opening with giant fangs. They're going to show up, something non-threatening. Because they're trying to talk to you. They're not trying to scare you. They're trying to let you know, hey, but those could be time travel suits. Those could be complete mind projections. We have no idea how much control over this realm they have. So, and how much control they have over our minds, because there's a lot of freaking Mandela Effect shit that we all remember, but it doesn't exist. Like, we all remember fucking Sinbad did Shazam in the 80s. We all know that shit. It happened. I watched the movie. Everybody did. And it doesn't exist. like they are altering our timeline. I think that, and of course, to a lot of people I just sound like I'm fucking crazy, but I've done a lot of research to back up a lot.
You bring up
of
a good point here that I find equally interesting about the whole like Tartaria, flat Earth, everything, is that very rarely do flat Earth or Tartaria theories kind of stay focused in that lane about just flat Earth, just Tartaria. They tend to get into, chemtrails and alternate dimensions and all sorts of occult history. Is there any like straight cut laser focused Tartaria or flat Earth research, or does it sprawl out and start including things for reasons?
Well, yeah, it includes things for a reason, because it's all connected and we're all just seeking the truth. And so when you're seeking the truth, you're on this journey. You're not just in one lane. You can't get on your local road and stay on that road to Canada. Like,
for
it's a
example,
journey.
If I wanted to be hardcore into flat Earth and make that the thing that I focus on, do I have to automatically embrace shape-shifting aliens from over the wall? Do I have to embrace
nobody embraces anything
or anything?
Well, no, dude, what you don't understand is flat earthers seek truth. We have no belief system. We know what we can prove, and the rest is all based on educated theories. That's it. No flat earther is going to be like, yeah, man, there's fucking aliens. There's freaking, lizard people licking fucking eyeballs and drinking babies' blood. It's all a fucking theory. It's all a theory.
That's
the only thing we can prove is that we're not on some stupid ass ball hurling through space. That's nonsense, and it's easily disproven. The rest is open for interpretation, because it's really, really hard to prove all of it. But that said, Hillary Clinton could yank off her fucking skin mask, have a lizard face, lick her fucking eyeball, and eat a baby, and I'd be like, yeah, I knew it.
Wait,
it wouldn't even surprise me at this point.
I want to clarify too here that like we're all have conspiratorial mindsets here. Like none of us are pushing the company line here in any way, and conspiracy theories are invited by having a lack of information, and even worse when the information is prevented from you getting access to it. So
Right.
every single time it comes up about we want to go beyond the limits that we're allowed to through Antarctica, or we want to fly into no fly zones to see what's over there, every time that gets shot down and we're not allowed to do it, it's only feeding that fire. So there's no way to ever really disprove or discount any of these theories that come up until we get over that hurdle. So
Try to charter.
They're doing that on purpose.
Try to charter a flight from South America, from like Buenos Aires to Australia, and charter it. Just tell the charter flight that, like, dude, I'll pay you fucking anything you want. I want a flight from Buenos Aires to Sydney over Antarctica. That's what I want.
We have
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But ironically, NORAD will stand down if you want to fly it into a building, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
That's a good point.
Like, it's absolute insanity, because do you think that the fucking airplane companies don't have a lot of pull in the government? Why would they not be like, hey man, fuck this treaty, you let us burn down the goddamn Amazon and cut down all the wood for fucking building. Like, you don't give a shit about the environment, just let me, you know how much money I'm gonna save? Hey politicians, I will give you all $100 million if you just let us start flying over fucking Antarctica, because we'll save a fortune in fuel.
Yeah,
And
but then
it's never happened.
They rule the fuel business as well. So I mean, but
Exactly.
the thing is, for me, I think that it's so elaborate, and dude, I reserve the right to change my mind at whatever point in
Right.
time, right? I think we
Sure.
live on a realm.
I
It
think
might be
we all do.
a fucking simulation for all I care. But the problem with me is it's such a big, elaborate hoax that somebody at one point is gonna get a video or
They have.
I can
Look,
kill that whole defense though. The Vatican, how elaborate and fucking
Right.
long-winded is the Vatican and all the rules.
Well,
and
and
the
who was
stories
it?
and-
Wasn't it fucking Neil Armstrong that said in an interview he told some little girl we didn't go to the moon? Like,
Yeah, I've
there's
heard
been
about
people that have said it. There's been people like, we didn't go to space. They just don't
Buzz
let
Aldrin
that
will
shit go
smack
public.
you so hard if he
Yeah.
heard you saying that,
Yeah.
bro.
But like, there was a guy that, what's really interesting, which is an interview that you don't see anywhere, and it's really, really hard to find, and I forget where I saw it. I think it might have been on Deep in the Rabbit Holes YouTube channel before they deleted a bunch of shit from them. They deleted like 10,000 videos off that page. But it was an interview with an astronaut right after the first trip to the moon, and he looked fucking shaken. He looked scared. And he was like, we met the people on the other side of the moon that live on the moon. They told us not to fucking come back. Like, we're not supposed to be there. Like he looked scared.
Bob, do
And
you
he was-
believe all the people that talk about going in the secret space program for the children? Do you believe in those people? Do you that they were recruited in some secret space
Sure.
program on the other side of the moon?
I don't believe anything that I can't prove. Do I think it's likely? Yeah. Do I think it could have happened that way? Could NASA be some kind of recruitment system also? Yes, 100%. Could it be used for trafficking? Fucking 100%. They seem to use everything for trafficking.
I think, just to be
Um,
clear too, I think NASA is super
like,
dirty. Never
yeah,
a straight
yeah.
answer.
No.
I think everything you mentioned before, recording over the tapes, losing the telemetry data. I find myself often in a minority of people that thinks that the Apollo missions were fabricated, and the ones that were
Yeah.
shown on TV were done in a Hollywood soundset. Like,
They've said they had. There was an interview with another guy that said they had to do it. He was like, "Well, we lost the tapes, so we had to record. Everything you see was done in a studio, but it's
Wasn't it
because
Kubrick or
we
something
couldn't
like that,
get
that they gave him
the
the
tapes."
camera or whatever. They gave
Yeah,
him
well,
the camera, he had a
theoretically,
That's my favorite theory, although
theoretically, Kubrick
including
and Disney
Kubrick
were involved.
specifically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Disney big time. I mean, of course.
Of course. I mean, there's a reason the rocket thing goes over the freaking castle in his logo. It's because that's where the rocket goes from NASA, and it just goes into the Bermuda Triangle.
So, but I like that because I saw that the other day. I saw that last night or the day before. But what do you think? What if it's a portal, Bob? Like, what if they're showing us other dimensions? Okay, let's say that.
I-
Let's okay. Let's say that the planets, right? Let's say Mars and all these places are other places. Okay, let's get that established.
Sure.
Now, what if they're showing us the other side? How you said the guy was talking about seeing the people on the moon, and he said, "Hey, they don't want us here, or whatever the fuck it may be. Whatever it was, the Nazis or whatever. What's that one movie?
Well, there was
Nazi moon base?
the Nazi moon base was a show. I think it was like
What was
All
the
of
movie?
Mankind. I think it was All of Mankind, where the Russians. It's a recent show, and the Russians had like a base on the moon. They win the space race. They get to the moon and set up a base or some shit.
No, Iron
There's
Sky
also
is
the Iron
movie.
Skies movie series, which is a little
Yeah,
bit
Iron
earlier
Oh,
than
okay.
that. And
And you're talking about the Man in the High Castle? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I
No,
haven't
that-
seen that one.
no, that was based on a Philip K. Dick novel, as if
Yeah.
Japan and Germany won World War II.
Yeah, exactly. The Nazis, and it's all about.
No,
Nazis.
Maybe
he's
they
talk-
did.
He's talking about a different show, For All of Mankind. I think it's on Apple.
Oh.
But it's
Yeah, and
it's
it's
real recent.
Yeah, it's about a Russian base on the moon. The Russians win the space race. They set up the base on the moon and shit. And
I believe
like-
that, dude. I believe that the Nazi, well, not the Nazis per se. I think that's just another name for another psyop. But that same mentality, that same group, has been ruling. Because if you look at that mentality that the Nazis had, right, just another psyop,
Yeah.
which how it's going on right now with Ukraine and all this other bullshit that's going on to just distract us from what's really, what's happening behind the scenes. This whole Twitter
Mhm.
thing. I'm like, what the fuck does it matter if Elon Musk buys Twitter or not? Like, I don't use Twitter. We know it's a cesspool, whatever. But I do think that these individuals did win, right, or are still
Mhm.
ruling. How they talk about Rome. Rome is still in play because that same Nazi mentality, quote unquote, transfers over. And I mean, Thomas is balls deep in MK Ultra, but that ideology of experimenting on your people without their knowledge, doing.
Yeah, I'm still
things
trying
without-
to deprogram myself.
Well, but he's the one.
Good luck.
He's the one. These people are still in play because they're still doing it today. Like, look at the whole Ovid bullshit. You know what I mean? Like they're pushing all this stuff on us, and now
Mhm.
the latest was what the moon, the monkeypox or some
Did-
shit that they.
The
they
moon
fought.
too. The fucking
the
moon. Moon's doing some crazy shit lately, and it disappears for like weeks at a time. It just goes
Yeah.
away.
So I
Like
wanna
ever
ask
since the
you-
blood moon, I haven't seen the moon since the blood moon.
I want to ask
it
your
happened,
opinion on
and
that,
then it
Bob.
went away.
A
Yeah,
couple
sure.
of them. So because there's slightly different answers out there, and I'm not looking to you to give the definitive answer that everybody agrees on. Just what your perception.
I don't
is.
expect anybody to agree with me,
So-
man.
So solar and lunar eclipses, the main example that I've heard that explains this away is like projections or holograms or some kind of a fabricated visual effect that is intentionally being shown to everyone to reinforce this concept of circular motion and spherical shapes. So what is the reason for those? Is it a part of the psyop, or is it
It's
some other
ball
side effect?
consciousness. It's
Well, it could be.
Michael
It
Wong
all
talked
could
about
be. It could all be just to steal our energy, right? So I think our energies are constantly being stolen. I think we are possibly really like descendants of gods, kind of heroes, Hercules type people. We have abilities, superheroes, whatever you want to call them. I think we are those beings that they tell us about all the time, and we've just been castrated basically through the poisoning and indoctrination of this realm. Could it all but I say all that, could it all be a simulation and this is all fucking fake? Yes, because guess what, in a simulation the easiest world to create is a flat plane. It's way easier code to write than to ball. So like, even if it's a simulation and everything is literally fucking fake, it's going to be a flat plane because they're not going to waste the code to make it a sphere. But like, I think the sky is for sure fucked up and fake right now. Like, it's been doing
Fake
some
how?
really weird
Specifically,
shit.
Is it being
I-
projected? Is it
Possibly.
like a mental
Possibly.
thing that's happening?
It could be just that they put it in our minds somehow through 5G towers, and it's just a manipulation literally of our brain waves, because everything is about vibration, right? So if you believe that Tesla was a real person and he wasn't complete fake.
Wait,
Whether or not you
Tesla
do,
was fake
he has,
too?
yeah.
What?
Oh, you're
So-
gonna make Juan cry right now.
Yeah,
No.
so if he was a real person or if he wasn't, it doesn't matter. He's got a lot of really good quotes.
What about
And
Pythagoras?
he said, I think they're all created, man.
"Oh my
I
god!"
think they're all created.
Is anyone not created like an important historical figure that's not fabrication?
I don't know,
Hitler-
man. I
Hitler?
wasn't there.
No?
I wasn't there. Anything outside of
What's
my
the
timeline that I
cutoff?
can personally verify? My timeline, what I can prove.
Is that not? So to me, that sounds dangerously. What do they call it? Like the brain in a vat theory, solipsistic,
No.
where like
No, I think anything can be an
because
option.
it sounds like you're
If-
saying that anyone that you haven't personally met doesn't exist, which sounds like brain in a vat theory.
Well, it's very much game theory. Look at all the video game freaking movies they're showing us and everything. I mean, we
I
call these
respect that.
people fucking NPCs for a reason. Like, they could all just be background. It could just all be filler. They may not exist unless I start searching for them until the code is demanded in front of my face. You
Fuck.
know, so
like a
it-
Roko's basilisk, where it doesn't exist until you start to think about it, and then you create it
Exactly.
like an egregore eventually. That's
Bingo.
fucking wild. You know, I
Bingo.
love this shit.
I think manifesting is real. So you're gonna manifest whatever reality you want for yourself anyway. You know, I think we're that powerful of beings that you can literally. I've manifested shit in my life too many times to think it's not real. So, like, I have made shit happen, good and bad, just through thought. And like, I think we are very, very, very powerful beings, and whoever is ruling this realm does not want us to know that. Because here's one of the reasons that they tell us we're a rock hurling through space. It makes us insignificant. It doesn't make us, very energetic, connected beings to the realm we're on. I think we are very closely related to the earth, to the celestial beings. All of these energies tie together, and we can use them. And they don't want us to know that we can use them
What was
freely.
the name of that movie that we watched the other day that you mentioned, Juan?
I think it's The Next Level or something like that.
The next level. Like, so that I walked away from that documentary, slash movie with two really kind of mind-blowing takeaways. One is I had never heard the infinite real estate motivation before. That one kind of threw me. The other one that I walked away from that I had a really strong, and you've kind of echoed this in a completely different way, but there seems to be this hand-in-hand concept of flat Earth theories are like emboldened by this concept about that, the humans that live on this flat Earth are actual divine beings, either from God or from some celestial source.
I think everything
seems like
on
it's,
this
like,
realm
hand-in-hand
is.
in that.
I don't think it's like some God complex. I
Mhm.
think
Yeah, I guess that's what I was.
I think
I was
all
getting at.
beings. Yeah, I saw where you were going, making us think, making flat earthers seem like fucking God.
Well, no, I mean, to me, it just seems like the eternal human
mentality,
condition of trying to prove that, like, you
I
came from
think-
a bigger thing than just dirt.
I think that all beings inside of our realm and outside of our realm, I think outside of our realm, they know what they can do and they're connected to it, and they are gods to us, or aliens, or angels, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, because all of those words are just words for things we don't understand. Whether it's God, alien, planet, fucking space, these are just words for shit we don't know about and don't understand. So could those beings be, super beings? Yeah, and we could be the dummies that have been dumbed down to live in this Truman Show fucking nonsense so they can have some laughs and feel better about themselves or whatever. This realm is obviously controlled. There's obviously a shitload of lying and corruption going on at the highest levels of power.
Not in my world, not in my country.
So-
Well, you must be in Canada
yeah.
or something, Bob.
So yeah. I actually think America is the fucking the central hub. I think this is for some
yeah,
reason.
I always joke that there's
Yeah.
a reason why America always wins the culture war in Civilization, the video game, right? Like, that's what we're good at. We export culture and we can take over just through culture alone.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing, and culture is guided by these really stupid things: shit on the news, music, pop stars. Like, we're guided by these things that should just be background noise entertainment stuff, but we're guided by them. And I think we have gotten so far away from what we're supposed to be. I think we're supposed to be these more naturally connected, energetic beings that, you know, aren't these solid carbon fucking forms that we have, that they're more silica based when we have a connection to our true energy, and we aren't carbon based. I think we've been made carbon based, again, more just enslavement, because we've been living through these multiple timelines where they clearly have been resetting shit and starting over. Even if you're a fucking Bible person, I'll try to be nice to the Christians.
This is a Christian podcast, Bob. Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to be nice to the Christians.
The 700 Club comes on right after this.
But
so
even good guy God restarted history multiple times. Mm-hmm. So even in the Christian belief, there have been resets.
So Bob, how about this part? Because, you know, you're talking about resets, right? About God, right? The floods and all this shit. Because I like the Tartarian conspiracy, where it's, you know, there was an advanced civilization, whatever. I know Thomas doesn't like it. He always rolls his eyes whenever I bring it up. But what do you think about, because I was listening to Michael Tillinger on YouTube last night, and he thinks that every fucking rock is a fossil. What do you think about that?
I think those
giants back then.
No,
or what?
I think there were giants for sure. There's a lot of evidence for giants. How big they were, we don't know, because we haven't been allowed to investigate it. I think dinosaurs were created to hide giant bones. But I mean, there's evidence of massive trees. There's evidence of giants. I think Tartaria, Atlantis, I think these are terms for different time periods. I don't think they're places. I don't think they're certain structures. I think anybody that paints with just such a broad brush, see that rock? It's a fucking melted building. Oh, mud flood. Oh, fucking, that's a Tartarian building that got melted. And like, once you get to that point, like, either you're a shill and you are just doing it to discredit the fucking movement, which there's a lot of, or you need to pump the brakes, take a fucking chill pill, smoke a joint, and just be like, whoa, dude, like, pump your fucking brakes. Not everybody, like it's like the people. Have you seen the people that have come out and they're like, oh, fucking every female in Hollywood is a tranny, and I'm just like, fucking settle down.
Well, hold on. I want to stay in that extreme end of the spectrum where you said like everything's a mud flood and everything is this or that. So like one of the things that I find fascinating, but I find it very hard to take seriously, but I want to understand more of it, is the concept of these ancient buildings and cities being designed as literal circuit boards that are transferring energy between each other. Can you break down like the woo-woo version that you don't like about that, and then the nuggets that you think are important to look into more?
Well, I think we always need to just keep an open mind when we're looking at stuff. Like, it was there for a reason. It's been left for a reason. Now, did they not have time to destroy it, or did they leave it for a reason? You know, these old buildings, if they're resetting things, if these are these powerful beings that can just reset shit, why do they leave these breadcrumbs? Like, is it because they run out of time, or is it intentional? So that's what has to be done first, is you have to have an open mind about it. And then you just have to have discernment. You got to use logic and reason and look at stuff rationally and try to stay in the most real evidence category as possible. Like, try to stay in reality. Once you start going, oh, mud floods are caused by space lasers from fucking humans on Mars, it's like, I'm sorry, you're a fucking dummy, and I don't want to talk to you because this is fucking ridiculous. Like, settle down. It's let's think of something more rational. Maybe mud floods are from what we thought it was, which is the water table got squeezed below us and forced a bunch of water out, brought a bunch of sediment with it. Because the floods are proven in a lot of ancient history. If you believe ancient history, there's a lot of things that write about the flood, and then there's a lot of evidence of a mud flood. Those things seem, any big deluge is going to come with an amazing amount of sediment as well. So I think those events are one and the same, and they just happen from this realm. You drill down anywhere in the world and you hit water if you drill down far enough. There's a water table below us, and it just got squeezed and water got forced out. That's it. Not space lasers from Mars. Settle the fuck down. Like,
Wait, who says? Is there people who think that there's space lasers
yes.
on Mars?
And I'm sure he's a decent dude. We've gotten into it a couple times. Ari something.
What's the full theory? Because I'm sure space lasers from Mars is a little bit of a simplification.
I don't know, man. That's what he fucking says. Is it's a human race that's possibly millions of years old that are on Mars trying to get back to Earth, and so they're causing floods, trying to destroy humanity here so they can come back. And they're shooting space lasers from Mars.
Is this a counter argument for flat Earth? Like, because if the presence of Mars exists, does that not invalidate?
Right. I don't think he's definitely not a flat earther, because if he had done so, that makes me start questioning his research tactics and how deep he goes, because he obviously hasn't researched a lot of shit if he's looked at NASA enough to know that Mars is there or there's some signs of whatever, even though all of the pictures are exact copies of places in like Greenland and shit. Like, it's just but like, I try to not go to the fucking extreme to explain shit. I try to keep it right here, because the way that we're gonna get people to fucking listen to us isn't going space lasers from fucking Mars and like, fucking the Earth is flying up at 9.8 seconds per second and we're on a flat.
I feel like I'm learning something new here too, because before, like you said, that you don't necessarily have to believe in any specific wholesale theories. So can you fully separate flat Earth from Tartaria? Like, only believe in one and not the other, and vice versa? Or
yeah, of course. There's plenty of people that are super into Tartaria that aren't flat earthers. And there's
and
people
vice versa?
that,
like if you're big
not
into flat
really,
Earth?
not really. Most
So if you're
flat
big into
earthers
flat Earth,
will,
then you tend to lean towards Tartaria as
flat.
well?
Once you realize the Earth is flat, when you really look, you really do the investigation, when you really do the research and the dives, and you realize that everything we've been told is a fucking lie, and the realm we're on is flat, it just makes you open to a lot of things. Then you're going, all right, well, now what? Oh, there's these ancient buildings that have been uncovered. Let me just stop you
just really quick, though, that if you've assumed that everything that you've been taught is a lie, and that history is a lie, and that the Earth is an infinite plane, why do space lasers from Mars, why is that the cutoff of being like a silly idea?
Because Mars doesn't exist. That's pretty easy. Unless it's the Mars outer land. Now, it could be an outer territory called Mars, because there are some maps that people have found or created or whatever, where Mars is just a planetary landmass, because it's
so if that guy came out and he said, guys, I wasn't talking about Mars the planet, I was talking about Mars the landmass. He's for sure not a flat earther. I know that for a fact. Well,
I've tried to talk to him.
But if he were to change his tune and he said that Mars was just a landmass, but it still has a laser that's creating these, would that give him more credibility?
Sure, because then it's more in provable reality, because space is fucking fake and gay. It's not real. It's never been proven to be real. So any idea that you have there are some planets and Jupiter and fucking whatever, it's all just nonsense.
That blows my mind a little bit too. So is there any, outside of, what was it, like the Flat Earth Society, like the Stooge government version? What is the name of that one? The
Flat Earth Society. Yeah.
Is there, excluding the Flat Earth Society and other show groups, are there any flat Earth theories that still places Earth in space and space is real, or once you say Earth is flat, then there is no space, so you can't believe in both of them?
Well, you're once you're a flat earther, you only seek truth. So you're not going on these concepts of things that haven't been proven. So you're going by what you can prove. This is flat. They're keeping us from Antarctica. There's been people that have written about the land past Antarctica, so that's a more likely theory.
Does no one care about whether or not it's an infinite plane or a finite plane? Because to me, that makes all the difference. If it's a finite plane, then that means it's got to be a square or a disc or a rectangle or some finite shape, right? Or it's infinite. So if it's finite, then there's an edge, and you can actually what happens when you get to that edge?
Right.
It's
Well,
finite.
and that's why cosmic egg theory is one that's out there. Like maybe we are in like this enclosed cosmic system, but it's like a plane of flat realms inside of a cosmic egg. Because if you look at a lot of the, because I just got a book. Shit, I didn't bring it in here. But it's about kind of that theory that this is a flat realm, but there's a land lower than us, a land above us, and it's like the tree of life comes up. The tree of, so there's a hollow earth, there's a realm below us, and then there's stuff outside of the cosmic egg. What it is, I don't know. I mean, it could be, if you've seen Men in Black, where like the universe is on the cat's collar, right? And that's like a whole universe. Man, it could be something like that.
Yeah.
It could be something like that, where like we just don't know. We haven't been allowed to investigate, which sucks. That's what sucks. Is that
I'm
we
so
haven't
curious
been
though.
allowed
Is
to
that
find
why?
the truth.
Why is the answer to we might be in a cosmic egg? We just don't know. But then we're definitely not a globe in space. We definitely know that that's not the case. But
because
we don't
there
know
is
it might
no
be an egg.
Right, because we can prove it's flat and we aren't moving. Like, that's why. We can prove we're flat. We can prove we're not moving. Everything outside of that is a theory.
Like,
we're not hurling through space. We're stationary.
But let's say that the theory now is that we're a globe in space and we're not moving. Like I want to understand why the movement thing seems to be such a strong sticking point.
Well, because the sky rotates, because the sky moves, right? That's how we have days, nights. That's how we have the sun and the moon. That's why the stars transition on a monthly basis. Because that
doesn't mean we have to be flying through the universe.
Right? No, but that's just what they've used that to create space, and that's how we've come to this. They basically, maybe during the last reset, they were like, all right, what is the one thing we're gonna do to trap them here? Like, we're gonna have to trap them here, like, mentally. Like, it's not gonna be able to, if they know that there's shit outside of it, we can't enslave them, because the one thing they always underestimate is the tenacity of humans, because they will always, when oppressed to a certain level, they will rise up. That's just human nature, is to eventually push back. It's I've been saying a lot lately, so anybody that's heard me say it, I apologize. But it's the cycle that is, strong men create good times create soft men create bad times create hard men, or strong men, whatever it is. You guys get it.
It's like why the grandchildren always squander away all of the the inheritance.
So they're trying to breed that out of us. They're trying to breed out that push, that desire to be free. I think that is slowly being bred out of us, because look at us now.
Is this the they that's here with us in like the known land, or
it's both? Okay. It's both. I mean, there's obviously incentives.
So what's in it for them? Let's say the people that are here in the earth we know.
Power, money, wealth, all of the things you could ever want. They could fuck kids and get away with it.
Is there not something even cooler on the other side of the wall, though?
There might be. Maybe the people that do their part well get sent to that place, like Epstein or Tupac. Like, hey, man, here's your fucking island. Thanks for playing your part. Here's your island. How many virgins do you want? We'll give you all of them. Maybe that's where the fucking myth of 72 virgins came from. Like, when you fucking play your part properly and and you're no longer needed in the fucking theater of this motherfucker, you get your own fucking island with 72 virgins. It's like, ta-da, good job, freaking Michael Jackson. How many virgins do you want? And he's like, all of them. Who knows, man? Like, I don't know anything for sure except this motherfucker is flat and it ain't moving.
You know, the whole
Like-
thing about, so I pulled up here, it's the next level, and I don't know if he did this on purpose or not. I think it's Hibbler, the one that put out the next level.
Yeah. Hibbler's the he did the production of it. Yeah.
Jumanji, the next level. You read the description, right? Because the Jumanji, these new Jumanji movies. In Jumanji, the next level, the gang is back, but the game has changed as they return to rescue one of their own. The players will have to brave parts from unknown arid deserts to snowy mountains to escape the world's most dangerous game. And I mean, that just sounds like what we're talking about now.
Yeah. Earth, the world's most dangerous game, and if you play it right, maybe you get freed.
So,
You know, and who knows how to play it right? Maybe the elites that are powerful, maybe they're playing the game right. Maybe we're doing it wrong.
You know, I think how you mentioned earlier, I do think this is a simulation because, you know, just how in a program, and Thomas is a programmer, so he knows what I'm talking about. You can't do certain things. You know, I can't run a MacBook Pro program on a Windows software. So there's certain things you can't do within this realm that you could possibly do, you know, unless you're the architect, how they show us in the Matrix and all this shit.
Yeah.
But my whole thing with the land thing, so I'm still stuck in the whole prison thing, the whole land thing. I mean, I've been to places, because we always bring this up where it's like, oh, there's not enough space for everybody. There are fucking places even here in Florida that you go out, and it's just fucking land and land.
Oh, yeah.
There's places
Well-
out in the mountains you go, and it's just land. And so we're not overcrowded in
No,
this world.
no,
We're just
even-
concentrated in certain parts.
Even in this realm, land is almost infinite. Like, there's so much fucking land. It's insane.
Mhm.
If you were to take every person in this world, all almost 8 billion, if that's how many there really are, because the census is nonsense and it's an impossible number to know. But let's, for just the sake of numbers, let's say, and we'll overestimate, we'll say 8 billion people, right? If you gave everybody 1 acre of land, they would fit in less space than 2 Texases.
Well, but now everyone's gonna get access to fresh water if you do that, right?
Yeah, you do,
that's
because
usually
all
the
you have to
biggest
do
aspect.
No, all you have to do
No?
is dig. You dig straight down anywhere where you're standing, where I'm standing. If we dig straight fucking down, we hit the water table.
That sounds like a lot more effort than just finding a river, though.
Sure, but we're not all going to have access to rivers. Rivers are a finite water source. The
Right.
water
Like, I guess
table
the point
isn't.
that I'm making here is that infinite land doesn't mean shit if the infinite land is just a dry area that you have to dig a mile down to get access to water, and God help you if
It's not a
something
mile.
happens
A lot
to
of
that well.
A lot of places, it's the average depth is less
Well,
than 1,000
same
feet.
point. Same point though.
But,
that
I mean,
it
it's
requires
pretty
the
easy.
infrastructure.
Yeah, but it's not hard. I mean, there's charities that do it very easily in Africa all the time. Just because that's
What-
all they do is dig wells.
Well,
and
I
it's
feel
not
like I'm
that big of
trying
a
to make
deal.
a point on your side here, Bob, that the infinite land that we have access to is not so infinite because of how hard it would be to get access to water. If the point
Well,
you're
I
making
was
is
just-
that
I
we've
w- my
always got
point was just
access,
that-
then
But the only reason we don't have access to this shit is because of government. Get rid of government, get rid of their lies, their bullshit fucking globe, and these problems, scarcity, this
Well,
nonsense that they
so
sell us is over.
I feel like you might have a much a better group of friends that are like more active and could actually pull shit together. If I were to like go and get 20 of my closest friends, I wouldn't trust them to dig a 6-foot fucking hole in my backyard, let alone a 500 or 1,000-foot well to gain water.
No, but
to
that's
sustain
that's
on.
the beauty of a free market, man. Is you would be able to find somebody that could do that pretty easily because there would be a demand for it, especially at first, man. Like if everything got free and we all could just dig where we on our own property and go find water, dude, people that dug wells would be in high demand. High
Well,
demand.
Couldn't I
So-
just siphon all the water out of the water table so you don't get it and I'm sucking it all up if I can
Man,
pump it faster than
I
you can?
think
Isn't that
you're-
why they killed
I think you're
Gaddafi?
talking about Gaddafi wanted completely off the system. He wanted his own currency. He
He
wanted
was
to be
digging
independent.
holes for water, and
like-
they offed him because of that shit.
There's a lot of reasons that they killed
Well, I mean,
Gaddafi.
corporations do that too, right? They'll go into some, other country and they'll dig into the water table and suck all the water out, and it's like, oh, our bad, we got there first. It's, too bad.
Yeah,
if your
those are
wells dried up.
aquifers. Yeah, but I mean, again, in a free world, all you'd have to do is move, and moving wouldn't be that big of a deal in a free, non-government controlled
But
world.
if we're in a finite land, then every time you move, another corporation comes and sucks all the
Corporations
resources.
can't exist in a free world. Corporations are a government creation. They wouldn't
Technically,
exist
it's
in
a
a free
Vatican
world.
creation, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but without government, corporations can't exist.
I think it's more mental than anything because, it's like John Baudrillard talks about the hyperreality and simulacra and simulation where people will fall into this hive mind. And as long as we believe
Yeah.
in these systems, they will keep happening. It's these
Mhm.
egregores, these thought forms where the more thought we give to them, the more they're willing to exist. Like, look at money. I mean, if there's there's no bigger simulacra than that where it's literally something that they just say, hey, this has value. Well, says who the fuck? Well, says we. And who owns the printers? We own the printers. Well, how much can you print of it? As much as we want. For how long? For as long as we want. It's like, wait, what? Wait a minute. What's...
And who gets it first? Oh, what will we do?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the next question is, okay, when you print money, who gets it first? Oh, well, of course we get it first, and then we'll give it to you after it loses its value. When it's the most valuable, we get it.
So
at the risk of sounding like an absolute apologist for the worst system in human history of currency, but I would say there's probably a strong delineation here between say like fractional reserve banking and sort of usury versus consolidating and standardizing an effort of work so that I don't have to go and raise a goat just so that you'll make some shoes for me, Juan. Like, I can do whatever I need to do and sell it to the people that I know that want that service, and then eventually have you sell me a truck or sell me a pair of shoes. Like, if the only thing that you care about are fucking goat milk and I don't want to raise goats, what does that mean? I just go forever without shoes?
Get fucked, find somebody else.
So at least I will be an apologist for the money thetan, I guess, right? Like that system of standardization, I feel, is one of humanity's greatest inventions because it equals the playing field. It lets me talk to anyone in a universal language that doesn't exist outside of the Tower of Babel, right?
Yeah, but we would have that in a free society too. There would
be
still
a
be
system
money.
of bartering. And
Yeah, but there would
though,
still
right?
be money. There would be notes that indicate a certain value, like because if
That just
I
sounds
make,
like a slippery slope, Bob.
yeah, well, it just wouldn't be centrally controlled. Every bank would be so. Part of being free is being able to think out possible peaceful solutions to the problems that would be presented to us. And a monetary system would have to still exist. And so what you would have is you would have banks that are actually not, backed by nonsense, federal, notes that are, based on nothing, fiat currency and federal or, fractional reserve banking and all that stupid shit where you're loaning money on things that don't even exist.
Well, and
but
this
like
part of
in
that fiat though is so that I don't have to lug a big, chest
Right.
full of 1,000 pounds across the country.
Exactly. And so you would still have banks, but they would have their stuff like a certain bank would maybe have, all of their money backed in gold. And there would be a certain percentage of growth rate based on that. And so certain people would be like, you know what, that's stable. The growth rate is small, but it's a stable place for me to hold my money.
Okay, so we're,
And then
we're
there
still
would be
talking
people-
about a universal
be-
currency of some kind.
No,
just
not universal. Each bank would have their own. So that bank would have its own currency and it'd be backed by gold. And then another bank would have all of its money backed by real estate investment. And it would have a certain percentage that it grows money. And people would, based on what they like, they would go, you know what, real estate is a risky market. It's a little up and down, but I'll take the risk because it's a higher yield. And so people would put it in that, and that bank would have its own currency in transaction with that. And so you would have all these currencies, but then you would also have in our system where it's a technology system, you would have an app or something where you could send, if my fucking Moral Bob notes need to go to your ParanoidAmerican notes, in order for me to pay you, there would just be an app where it would do all the legwork for me. It would say, okay, I'll pay you 5, of my notes that are worth 7 of yours for whatever you have.
This sounds like
like
an altcoin website.
Right. Well, kind of.
You're giving me flashbacks.
Right. But it would do all of the transition legwork. Like, I would give you my notes, but they would automatically transition into your notes, into your storage device or your bank account of choice or whatever. And maybe you have multiples and you could pick when you get paid, they get split. I've got a little bit of money in the gold bank. I got a little bit of money in the real estate bank. I got a little bit of money in the automotive bank, and so and a little bit in the oil bank. And so you would just click a button that says evenly distribute my profits to each one of my accounts. And it would evenly distribute them. So you diversify your fucking portfolio automatically every time you get paid.
So this is a little bit of a tangent, but you mentioned gold, silver, oil. In a world where we're able to prove that it's infinite landmass forever, does not gold, oil, and silver just immediately lose all of their values?
It depends, because gold can be used to make things, right? Because gold's in computer chips and stuff, so it's still going to retain some kind of value.
Supply, right?
You don't know until you mine it. You still have the labor factor of getting the gold. It's not just falling from the fucking sky. You still have to retrieve the gold, process the gold, turn it into something that's of value. So,
well, I guess that's the same point before, is that you still have to dig that well and get access to that water.
Right. And some people will know how to
itself.
dig the well. Some people will know how to mine the mines. Some people will know how to make the shoes or make the t-shirt or the hat or the headphones, and I may just know how to raise chickens and grow fucking tomatoes and pot. And that's what I got. And I'm like, who wants to smoke weed and eat some eggs?
Okay.
And,
so even in an infinite sort of landmass, you think gold would still retain some kind of value because it's like a electroconductor?
I don't think it would be as valuable as it is now. I think things like farm fresh eggs would be significantly more valuable.
Are you big at all into like Zechariah Stitchin's sort of like the alien ant farm sending sending humans to Earth to mine gold in order to like harvest for these aliens?
Well, that's the Anunnaki kind of story, is that this was a mine camp. And I think there's
a flat Earth version of that.
I think there's some credibility to that. If you look at some of the ancient texts about the Anunnaki and whatnot, it does seem that we were possibly created as a slave race. I mean, even the Bible, like if the Bible is real, I'm fucking super Gnostic. Like, the dude that created this shit, he was the bad guy for sure. That dude's a narcissistic prick that fucking was like, here, you can have free choice. Not like that. I'm gonna kill all of you again. Okay, now you have free choice. Well, fuck. Not like that.
I can relate though, man, because like I was talking about civilization before. I mean, there's so often I'll be like, I'll get 20 moves in, like, no, I'm restarting this civilization.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I need to get a better start than this.
Exactly. So, like, I'm Gnostic if the Bible has any truth in it, and I think the Bible is the Gnostic tale, or is the Anunnaki tale. There was a guy named he's not dead. Albert E. Potts. He wrote a book called The Genesis Timeline, or Genesis something. It's but he goes through Genesis and retranslate it in what he thinks makes the most sense, starting with the first word and then going by context. And dude, it's intense. And frankly, to me, it makes more sense. It's like, people came here, started messing around genetically with things here, and created humans. Now, were they doing that to make a slave race?
The Arctic Wall, essentially?
Yeah. Like, this could have just been more land, because look, even in this realm, all land is obtained through conquest. So maybe they've just established this shit as whatever it is, and when the minefields dried up and there was no more profit, the people that owned this land at that point was like, how are we going to make money on these fucking stupid ass goddamn slaves? Like, what are we going to get them to do? It's like, give them television. And then,
so is this where the pigeons, are they part of these people, and that's how they spy on us? Because I've never seen a baby pigeon, Bob. I don't know if you have.
I know
birds are not real theory.
Yeah, there aren't any baby pigeons. There are baby doves. I've seen baby doves. I've shot baby doves by accident. Like, I don't think all birds are fake, but if you're gonna hide some drones, what is a better place to hide them but in like flocks of crows and
I
pigeons
think
and
pigeons
shit?
are fake as fuck. I've
Um,
never seen. Have you seen a baby pigeon, Thomas?
You fucking stop it right now.
Have you seen a baby? Answer yes or no. Have you seen?
I've
a baby
never
pigeon?
seen a baby pigeon, but
Okay,
I've
then they're
absolutely
fake.
seen a chicken lay an egg and then saw those eggs hatch into little.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no. A
So-
pigeon, dog.
A pigeon.
Well,
No,
why?
I think
Why
if-
why would the pigeon?
and you know
be
it's
fake when the
illegal to
chicken
hunt
would be
pigeons.
real?
It's
Look at
illegal
that.
to hunt pigeons.
It's illegal to hunt their drones. You see? I fucking told you, bro. There's something up with this shit, bro. So
Well, you could shoot them and they could bleed and have organs. It doesn't mean they're not fake.
they're synthetic. Yes, Bob. So religion is religion another construct of society that they use to control?
Fuck. Obviously, super obviously, like it's all about control. It's like that meme that goes around every now and again, and it's like Jesus knocking on the door, and it's like, open up so I can save you, and it's like, from what? It's like, from what I'm gonna do to you if you don't open the door, and it's like, I don't know if this is Jesus or the government at the door. So like it's this conundrum where it's like, okay, they're both fear control mechanisms.
It's fear porn.
Like, yeah, all religion is just fear control. That's it. My little brother is supposedly a Christian, and not if you look at his lifestyle choices, but he goes to church and shit. So, but I told him, I said, do you think that you need religion to be a good person? Like, are you doing what you're doing because of
Some
the
people
reward, or like, are you in this religion because of the reward or the punishment? Which is it? Because it's got to be one of them.
I would make a strong argument that even if one person out there says, yes, I need religion to keep me within the moral guidelines, then I'd say that, like, we need religion then as just like a human species.
Yeah,
if there's
I
people
think-
out there that need it, then yeah, we need it.
Absolutely.
I think on its face, it's not a bad thing if these people actually lived the shit. The problem that I have with Christians is the same that I have with right-wingers, left-wingers, progressives. They don't ever apply their shit consistently. They're all fucking hypocrites.
Well,
All of
everyone's a hip. I mean, are you
Like-
not a hypocrite though? I'm a fucking
No.
hypocrite. I know Juan's a fucking hypocrite.
I'm
He's
a
the biggest
piece of
hypocrite
shit, bro.
here.
I'm a piece
I
of
am-
shit.
You're not a hypocrite at all.
No. I don't preach anything that I don't live. I don't I hate the government. I don't fucking obey their shit. I don't fucking drive like 100 miles an hour being a fucking dickhead or anything either.
You
though.
consume
You know,
social
I
media,
may-
don't you? Do you not
Well,
consume
sure.
social media? Is that not hypocritical in some way that you're giving
No.
that traffic and that energy into these overlords of Amazon and
No, because I think
Google
we
and-
can use their tools against them.
Mm.
It's still connecting us. We're still talking. We're still having valuable conversations. I think controlled op and things like this, they think are more beneficial than they are negative. I think it's the opposite, man. We're able to have these conversations, and even if both of y'all are fucking controlled op or I'm controlled op, like these conversations, somebody out there, whether it's us or not, somebody out there is going to listen to it and get something from it, and they're going to, maybe it is that one thing that makes them start to see. Because I'm sure all of you have gotten messages where it's like, man, you really made me start thinking about this differently. You really kind of opened my eyes to this. And dude, that's all we got to do is if
also
each
got
one of us
messages-
reach one fucking person, then we're doing good work.
All they seem to care about are the fucking dog dicks, though, which is a little bit annoying. But whatever,
I've gotten
man.
messages from the Illuminati trying to recruit me. I mean, they're like, "Hey, for $100 or some shit, you can join the Illuminati." I'm like, "Damn, that sounds like a fucking good deal." You know what I mean? So, no, but dude, absolutely. I mean, I've gotten a bunch of messages. Would you say, Thomas, that all they care about is the dog dicks?
All they care, I mean, yeah, people hear and they walk away with like, oh man, I learned something new. But it seems like the biggest traction by far, by a wide margin, are people that just really like the dog dick topic.
Well,
Yeah.
that tells you the state of our society, doesn't it? We're in real sad shape
So,
if
Bob,
that's what gets the most traction.
where do we go from here, dude? I mean, we're deciphering the fabric of reality. We know space is fake, and not only fake but gay.
Yes,
Does that
very
mean
gay.
if I
Not
was to go to-
sexually gay. It's not like homoerotica.
Oh, I thought you were automatically homosexual when you came back, or like some. I thought,
No.
I had it mixed up. So it's
Just
fake and
like
gay.
when you would say to your buddies, like, man, you fucking, that's so gay. It just means lame. It just means like nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not sexually gay. It's not like two globes
It's
like
90s
scissoring.
gay. It's 90s gay.
that's
is
a
what
Yeah,
you're
it's
saying.
90s gay. It's like, dude,
That's a
that's so
letdown for
gay.
Thomas. Yeah,
Um,
that's a big
yeah.
letdown for Thomas. So what
You
do
would
we
say
do
it.
with
It
this
wasn't necessarily a sexual thing. Anyway,
What do we
what
do
do we
with
do?
this
I'm
information?
already like beyond gay and straight. I'm like way out inside of the pansexual 938 Baskin and Robbins flavors, bro.
Silver 9,000.
We're all fucking reptilians on the inside, bro.
We very well could be.
We've
Have
all
you
we've all
seen
got the same cloacas, do we not?
Yeah, have you seen the series V?
Isn't that where
80s?
David Icke got his entire shtick from?
Probably,
Was from
yeah.
growing up watching
year?
that series.
Yeah, man. I remember when that series played. I remember when it first hit TV, and
The
it was
original
like
one,
this.
and there was a
big
remake
fucking-
too.
Yeah, the first one. It was a very big event, and it
Juan-
was
Juan
humans
just
that were
graduated-
lizards, and they
Juan
came
just
here.
graduated
Why?
high school, I think, a couple years ago,
Oh,
so he hasn't seen
1984.
almost any of these. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about an alien race of humans that come here to save us from a virus, and they end up being lizard people that eat us.
But here's the thing, Bob. symbols are the language to the soul, right? And
Sure.
you know, I think that they do this shit on purpose. They put the
Mhm.
symbolism in these movies because it is real. It is a possibility. Then you just
Right.
laugh it off like a fucking lizard people.
Exactly.
That's crazy. But in actuality, they know it's a reality, and they just like mock you. It's again hidden in plain sight. I 100% believe in that shit. If you got eyes to see, you will fucking see it. But what are we supposed to do with this information? Or where are we supposed to go without causing anarchy? You know, because this conspiracy.
What's
theory,
wrong with
we talk a lot
anarchy?
of well, I mean, it's not safe. I mean, you got a family.
Why?
I got a family.
An-
It's not
anarchy
Anarchy isn't-
benefits. It benefits
anarchy
those
is
in
not-
power, though.
Anarchy is not chaos.
If
You're-
there's a
you're
group of
conflating
12
two
people
terms.
that are running the show, anarchy
Yeah.
benefits them more so than anyone else.
No, it doesn't. Or else
No?
they would institute anarchy. No. Or else we would be living in anarchy. It is completely obliterates their power structure if we live in anarchy, because
Agree or
anarchy
disagree
just
a little bit on that.
anarchy simply means no rulers. It doesn't mean
Right,
no
but
rules.
anarchy is not a scalable, consistent state. Anarchy
Sure it
exists
is.
for a
I
blip
think
in
I think that's a
time.
logical fallacy. There's
Really?
plenty of
Okay.
anarchist societies that exist right now. There's some
Oh
in,
man,
in
that's
Mexico.
to me
there's-
that's such an oxymoron, though. An anarchist society, because in order to have a society, there's some
No.
sort of standard rules
hierarchy.
that.
Sure, there's authorities, but there's no rulers. There's nobody
I feel like that's a little
ruling
bit of
anything.
a semantic
Nobody-
debate now.
No. It's a huge debate. It's a huge debate because there's a big difference between having some kind of like, if I go to a dentist, the dentist is the authority in the room on what I am going to him for. There is not a lack of authority in anarchy.
But that's not a society. A dentist isn't a society. A society is
No.
comprised of arbitrary demographics, usually geographical demographics.
Yes, it's very arbitrary. A society could be 10, 15 people living in a community. It could be 3,000. It can be anything it wants to be as long as it is free of central power. And there's a lot of them that have formed. And oddly, the central powers from outside of it go, we can't have people seeing this shit, and they overthrow them. And that's why they don't exist, is because the powers that do rule don't want it getting out that we can get along. They don't want it getting out that we don't need them in order to have rules and structure and unity and, all of the things that we want. Like, they don't want people to know that, or else they would institute it. If it was better for them, they would institute it. There wouldn't be any government lines. There wouldn't be borders. There wouldn't be all these rules. We would just live in anarchy if it truly benefited them. But it doesn't. Chaos. Now, the idea of chaos breeds order. Now, that is a natural term because out of chaos breeds order in the natural world because of a lot of things, because of vibrations. You can look at sand on a plate, and if you vibrate it at a frequency, a pattern emerges.
Yeah, we're talking about cymatics here, the study
Right.
of visual
And then-
vibrations.
Right, and then you have the Fibonacci sequence. So order is the natural state of things. I don't think you can have true order with a governing body. We are in an unnatural state, and that's why there is so much fucking chaos and violence, is because we are going against our natural state, and we fucking are reacting poorly to it. We're the sickest, dumbest, and most violent we've ever fucking been. Like, we're just six stupid people throwing shit at each other, and we think we're the most advanced we've ever been. We aren't. Like, we are bottom feeders at this point, man. We have the world's knowledge in our hand, and people still believe absolute fairy tales and nonsense.
Yeah. So where do we go from here, Bob? What can we do to better ourselves? And I mean, other than go on podcasts and talk shit.
Remove yourself from the system, man. Like stop, giving money to government. Grow your own food. Become independent. Connect with the earth. Connect with like-minded people. Share your energy. We start connecting, it's going to be very much like the 100 monkey theory, where eventually our energy, our manifestation is going to infect the entire world, the entire human race, however much that is. It just happens. We don't know how many it's going to take with humans, but in animals, it's been shown in a pretty small group. So, I mean, I think it would possibly have to take like hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, to get the entire world to kind of click. But there's just been so much damage to the mind, body, and soul of humans through our poisonous lives, the food we eat, the shit we consume, the stuff we put on our bodies, the 5G radio waves, the kind of radio waves that are just bouncing around everywhere that we can't see, that are just damaging us constantly. The stuff they spray in the sky, they've just been polluting us constantly, and it's put us in this very unhealthy state. So it's going to take a bit to break that. I think this spell has been cast with all of this poisoning, and it's going to take a lot to detox society, but I think we can do it. And we don't all have to agree. We just have to agree that nobody steals anything, hurts anybody, or takes the shit. Like that's it.
I don't know if we're capable of that though, because all it takes,
that's the problem.
If the entire world all plays by those rules, but one person doesn't, that one person
is gonna be dead.
I don't know if that's true at all, man.
Yeah, what's the incentive? You got to start breaking away of your indoctrinated incentive mindset. In a free world, what would be the incentive? Now, there's still going to be fucking crazy people. That's going to, it's going to happen. But I guarantee some homeless people get shot in the face. They're going to quit assaulting people. I guarantee some thieves get shot in the face. They're going to stop stealing shit. Like, the incentive will start to go down. Like,
didn't the world start in a free state, though? Like, wasn't that the original state of being, was that we were all free? So there was obviously an incentive for somebody at some point to corrupt it, right?
Power.
Corrupted it. Yeah.
Power.
Well, isn't that that's the example, though, right? Because we were just talking about what would be the incentive if everyone was free. What would be the incentive of, subverting that system?
Right, but as long as everybody Thomas Jefferson said freedom requires eternal vigilance.
He owns slaves too.
I know, he's got a lot of good quotes, and that's if he's even a real person. Okay. And he also said freedom can't live. What is it? You can't sustain freedom if it doesn't live in the hearts of men. And that's
if you go by that mile marker, we might shoot you.
Yeah, but there's a lot of flawed people that still said good things that we can take from them. I don't think just because there's a flawed person, we should throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, of course not. But my favorite thing is to point out hypocrisy in everybody. Yeah, so it's not like a distinct dig on like that dude in particular. Fucking nobody else. Right?
There's a lot of good shit that Bernie Sanders said. I don't agree with him on fucking anything, and he's got some good quotes.
Well, he's got that earpiece with the reptilians telling him what to say, I think.
Yeah,
100%.
Something like that. He's like, please
right,
give me some
fake, have the fake drone bird land on the podium right now. The bird is landing.
No, it's the fly. It's the drone fly. Fucking landed on Mike Pence's fucking
No, but didn't he
forehead.
have like a bird like landed on his podium as he was talking, and it like became this big thing like Jesus on the sermon?
Probably fucking believe. Who cares?
Probably. No, I'm telling you, it happened.
What
it
an
was
insane
a big
world,
thing, bro.
Yeah, and the thing with Mike Pence where a fly just landed on his forehead for like 30 minutes, didn't move. Like, was the fly recharging?
So I got some pointed questions on for me to continue my search here, because
Sure.
if I could say there was two things, it's really one thing. It's this one question that I want to ferret out, because I've got that terrier human instinct where I just won't let something go. Like, what direction would you point me in if I want to find out who's done the most fleshed out research for, is the Earth an infinite plane or is it a finite plane? Like, who's doing that? Who's leading it? What are the topics that I could look at?
Alex Jones is, dude.
Let's leave Alex Jones out of this.
There's, I mean,
because I've seen the map, right? The map that
Yeah,
has the Arctic Wall, and then outside it is like Atlantis, and there's
a
like
guy.
Tolkien lands and
Oh, what's his name? He's like a Spanish dude because all of his posts are in Spanish.
Juan. Yeah.
And it's like I'll send you the link so you put it in the show notes. But he's doing a lot of stuff. I haven't really dug into him, but a lot of the stuff he's posting is showing the land masses outside of our realm and how many there are. Is he
on infinite or a finite theory?
The way he has them laid out, it's got to be infinite. But you just can't. You can't.
Is this the one that has the four voids at the end? There's like a desert void and an ice void and like a fire void and a water void.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. And I mean, and who knows? You know, like.
Are you familiar with any flat Earth theories that do claim a finite, like that's not infinite?
Not that I'm super familiar with, you know, because again, most flat earthers just realize that we don't know. And so, you know, we just want to be able to check it out. You know, we don't know. Could it be infinite? Yeah, it's like it's Schrodinger's freaking reality. It's Schrodinger's plane.
Well, I mean, because like, to me,
it is both like finite. It's both finite and infinite at the same time until we prove otherwise.
It seems like a more of a philosophical debate about like, does infinity even, because to me infinity is like a mathematical placeholder for a more abstract concept that we might not be able to wrap our heads around because we're physical material things living in a physical material space.
We're finite beings trying to comprehend the infinite. We're never going to be able to.
So I guess to me, just the concept that anything is truly finite, again, whether that's space or whether it's the Earth, just the concept of infinity to me is far more important than the shape, or if there's people that live outside of an Arctic wall, or if someone controls us, because just the concept, the abstract concept of infinity supersedes all of that. Like, to me, that's God. If you can prove that there is true infinity, then that's also proof of God.
Well, and I think that's a very valid point. I think God could just be the energy of everything, however it was created, whatever created it, if it's energy or an actual being or whatever. Again, a God is just a term for something we don't understand.
Infinity. It's saying how it's the same thing for infinity, right?
Well, how many concept. How many cultures describe their gods as being infinite? All of them. All of them.
And if we're playing with this topic, though, if there's an infinite landmass, then there's an infinite number of societies and an infinite number of religions, right? Like, infinity is infinity. It doesn't stop short anywhere. It literally goes on beyond what you think it would.
There's I forget the name of the dude that said it, but he says if you can think of a reality, it exists.
Yeah.
You know, so just merely by having the thought, you create it and it exists. So, yeah, I mean, it could be completely infinite. Anything you could think of, it exists because by thinking it exists. It's kind of circular logic, but still.
Well, that wouldn't count for space, though, right? Because if you think about space, then that wouldn't be able to exist.
I mean, sure. I mean, it exists in our imaginations.
The abstract concept of it. Yeah.
Just like anything outside of the realm we know, it might as well be space because we haven't been able to prove it. You know, the infinite plane is space, and it's got just as much evidence behind it as space.
Well, I mean, in a practical sense, yeah. Like I can't get on a rocket ship and go out into outer space.
Exactly.
Even if it were real, I wouldn't be able to do that. Just
Right.
like I can't get on a boat or a plane and fly over the Arctic wall. So
Exactly.
from all practical purposes, the three of us, whether it's fucking space is infinite or land is infinite, we're still stuck within the same sort of finite boundaries regardless, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's also created. I don't think the natural state of Antarctica or that region or the North Pole is a frozen state. I think that is a fabricated state to entrap us here. I think maybe the hole to the hollow Earth is at the North Pole, and so they've put a freaking an ice cap on it. They literally call it the ice cap. And
Well,
then
hold on, that's interesting to me because I thought Hollow Earth required a sphere or a globe
No.
of some kind.
No, there's a lot of ancient
So what's hot like
writings
if it's flat, and
it's
then
flat
you go
and there's
inside
still
the
a
hollow
region.
part, then that means there's like a bottom to it too. Otherwise, it wouldn't
It
be
could just
hollow,
be
it would
layers,
be...
man. It could be layers of realms. It could be infinite. It could be infinite out and down.
Okay.
We don't know. The deepest hole ever dug was 7.6 miles, and they hit what they described as an impenetrable barrier. It was burning up their drill bits. They couldn't get through it, and it just fucking in 7.6 miles. That's the deepest hole that's ever been dug, and they couldn't dig any further. They wanted
Put a
to.
microphone down there too.
Yep.
So
I also have a theory that maybe we're on the top of a firmament for a world below us, and it's just an infinite, existence of like flat Earth, dome, and you
like
can get
turtles
to
all
the other
way
one.
down.
Who knows?
Flat Earth all the way down. Yeah.
Who knows? Who fucking knows, man? I am not going to be a person that is going to sit here and tell you something is fact that I can't prove. If I claim it is fact, it's because I can prove it.
And the two things that you feel the most confident is that A, we're on a completely flat plane, and that we're not moving.
Right. Yeah, and I can prove both of those factually, with physics and science.
Unfortunately, I can't put you to that test
Yeah.
because I had to take Algebra 2 like 3 times.
But
so yeah,
but yeah,
I'm
all
not
the
one to put
physics,
that
all
test
the
on you.
engineering, all the evidence, all the observed evidence, all the math and physics and everything evidence points to the fact that this realm is flat and the sky just goes in a circle. It's just a clock. That's it.
So
that-
what sources would you suggest people look at? Like if you can't trust, normal history, like what would be the sources that you can trust? Is it just your own
discernment, man?
eyeballs?
You're just your own discernment. If something feels like bullshit, dig into it and find out if it's bullshit. If you think it's the truth, know it's the truth.
Like, are there any specific
Don't ever
books?
believe anything. No, just look, man. I'm not going to guide anybody to anything because I don't want people thinking falsely about the shit that I give them. Do your fucking research. Just research. Question everything. Don't believe anything unless you can prove it repeatedly and it makes sense logically, factually, mathematically. Anything else, fair game. Like, just look. Like, I can guide you to a place, but let's say I say, flatearthdave.com, because that's a really good fucking resource to go to if you really want to do some investigation, or just go to the Deep in the Rabbit Hole, DITRH YouTube channel. He's got a ton of videos, and just let your mind go to the what if. Well, what if? Well, fucking what if? And just chase that down the rabbit hole and try to find out if you can find some truth in any of it. If you can't find any truth in any of it, anything that you can prove repeatedly, then it doesn't mean you need to throw it out. Maybe you use that to go down another rabbit hole and kind of just, touch on pieces of that. Use that rabbit hole to help you down the next one, because each rabbit hole you go down, you're going to start getting used to rabbit holes and you can navigate them better. And that's how you find truth. And then just, if you can't prove something, then it's a belief or a theory or an idea, and that's it. Don't go out there telling people that this is the way that it is without factual evidence behind it. That shit drives me fucking crazy, that people run around and they're like, oh, well, dinosaurs lived 3 billion years ago and they, drank semen from the fucking volcanoes. And, like they say all of
they're
this
trying to make those
ridiculous
dino
shit.
homunculi, bro.
Yeah, they say all this ridiculous shit like it's fact. And it's just like, you fucking don't know that. Like, stop it. Stop claiming shit is fact that can't be proven. Knock it off. I think that's one of the biggest problems in the world, is just people claiming shit is fact without doing the research. This blind belief in authority. Oh, well, somebody else figured it out. Really? Did they? Have you looked at it? Do you know that they figured it out? Well, no, I just believe. Okay, so you're in a
terrifies
cult.
me a little bit, though. This honestly terrifies me in the concept of like not being able to trust anything that came before me. Like Juan mentioned before, like computer programming, right? So if I were to sit down and I wanted to make a web page, I have to absolutely stand on the shoulders of people that came before me and develop these languages and technologies and tools, versus me sitting down and injecting lightning into a rock and then building the binary system and like doing everything myself bit by bit. Like I have to just rely on all of the work that came before me and just assume that it works and assume that, people put it together and that it's functional. So in like the concept of right. But I guess the
if somebody else proves something, you can test that pretty quickly to see if their proof lines up and go, okay, cool. Batteries do give power to shit, and cool, I'm good. I don't need to make a fucking battery to prove that a battery will power something. You don't have to do all of it all the time, because those things come with proof. But anything that you can't prove, and I don't think it really leads you down to a bad place, man. There's nothing wrong with questioning things.
I probably just overthink it, but like in your battery analogy, it would be like, well, how can you prove to me that it's the battery that's the source of energy, and the energy isn't being beamed to me from somewhere else, and it's all a trick? And the only way to do that is to say, what's in this battery? Let me break it down. Let me analyze the chemicals and the reactions. And then, but like at that point, you're going all the way back to like making your own battery from scratch just to prove that it was indeed that battery supplying the power and not some external force.
There's people that do that. There are people right now that do that. They videotape it and they put it on fucking YouTube. So there are people that go to those extremes. You just got to pick whichever one you want.
But does that mean that if you just watch someone doing that on YouTube, then we should take that as the truth?
Well, no, you would if you wanted to. It all depends on your end goal to finding the truth. Like, what is the purpose of finding out whether a battery gives power or not? And maybe it is some, like, I've got a theory that these fucking little stupid goddamn things that we all have in our pockets, that the computer boards and everything in them is all a psyop, and they're really just a Black Mirror freaking magic device that reads your fucking thoughts, and it just takes it from your brainwave energy that you're putting out, because you're putting out that energy whether you vocalize it or not. That energy, as soon as you have that thought, that energy is created and it is going somewhere and can be harnessed. I truly believe that. Now it has to be local though. Like somebody in Washington DC can't read my brain thoughts unless I've got something within fucking arm's reach that can harness those wavelengths and transmit them. Because I've had stuff show up on my phone and I didn't say it out loud. I didn't look it up. I just had a thought and it popped up on my phone and I'm like, what the fuck?
Dude, do smartphones get a pass in that, like, we're using the technology against the oppressors that gave it to us?
Sure, but I'm starting really, like, once I get land and I get out of the city up, and once I'm not running my business that I'm running, I'm likely going to just get rid of my smartphone.
Would you ever
once
look
I
back,
no longer rely on it?
If you did that and looked back at now, would you consider yourself now a hypocrite for using a phone compared to you in the future not using it?
No, because I recognize it's poison. I minimize my usage of it, and I use it to my benefit. So, I use it to talk to, like-minded people, spread truth, to organize things where I can further my knowledge about growing things and raising chickens and, having land and tending to it. I use it as a resource. So, like I said, I think you can use something that was created for bad as something good. It's that leftist argument, guns are bad. Well, they get used for a lot of good. Yeah, sure, they get used for bad, but they get used for more good. So I just think as long as we're outweighing them, which I think is a battle that we're starting to win, because we're all getting canceled, we're all getting censored, we're all, feeling the pressures of all of the controllers telling us, no, you can't say that. Oh, wait, this is missing context. We all get that shit on our Instagram pages. And like,
not me, bro. I toe that company line. I put out.
Well,
what they
you're a
tell me to,
Freemason, so yeah. they let your stuff go through for a reason.
Yeah, that's right.
He's one of us.
Let's shoot out some concluding thoughts to get the fuck out of here. I mean, we talked a lot of
Sure.
shit today. The
This
list
has
I
been
wrote
fun,
down
man.
is fucking ginormous, and I'm trying to title the episode as you guys are speaking. But any concluding thoughts from both of you, so we can end this and continue the good fight.
Sure, man. I guess I'll go first. My main message to people is question everything that's been presented to you. It's only true because you believe it, and belief systems are a real good way to lead you down a bad path. So I tell everybody I don't have a belief system. I don't believe anything unless it can be proven. Other than that, I'm good. So do your research, check shit out, be open-minded. When somebody freaking says something to you, don't freaking call them retarded or tinfoil hat or whatever. Just be like, all right, let me hear it. Like, let me see what you got. And then, remove yourself from the system. That's more valuable than doing any of the research or anything else, is just growing your own food, becoming independent. I'm working on finding how we can easily become sovereign and remove ourselves from the governmental structure and their authority over us. And then I'm going to put that in like a PDF so I can share it with everybody, and everybody can just do like just take these step by step, become sovereign, and remove ourselves from this power. And then they can't do anything to us anymore. Like, even on an individual basis, they can't do anything, because for some reason they have rules that guide them. And if we legitimately remove ourselves from the system, they're not allowed to fuck with us. That's why the Amish can do whatever the fuck they want to. They figured it out. But yeah, man, just seek truth and fucking independence, true independence. Other than that, be cool, man.
Thomas, are you convinced, is the Earth flat? Yes or no?
I think it needs more research, but I think definitively I can't prove that it's a sphere, or that we're in space, or that we're moving. And it seems to be a lot easier to prove the opposite of that. But I want to liken back to our occult book club. I think this was a Benjamin Paul Blood quote that was somewhere in there, and I'm going to butcher the hell out of this because I haven't taken my nitrous today yet. But he said something along the lines of like, that it's silly that different religions argue about, say, like the virgin birth. Like, some say, Mary gave birth to God, but she wasn't a virgin at the time. Another one's like, no, she was a virgin when she gave birth to God. And then Benjamin Paul Blood is making this point of like, who cares if it was a virgin or not? The fact that a human being gave birth to literal God seems to be like you're burying the lead if you don't lead with that. So to me, again, like I hope this doesn't sound like a broken record aspect, but the concept of an infinite plane, or that there is just like an endless supply of land that we don't even know about, or even that history could all be fake before either of us were born or were able to observe things for ourselves, that every historical figure, every book we've read, every scientific theory could all just be completely fabricated. This to me is that same concept of like infinity. So like, I don't care if we're a globe in space, stationary, moving, or if it's an infinite plane. Just the concept of infinity is like, you're burying the lead, right? Like, infinity is God, so who cares what form it sort of takes. So I guess I'm in this realm of like, I don't feel like I have a dog in the fight either way. I feel like NASA faked the moon landings, and that the videos that everyone's seen and the pictures that we've seen were all fabricated. Although I don't know if I can definitively say that there is no moon or that it's projected. But I definitely know that there's a much stronger argument than just har, flat earthers, pancake in space. Like, I don't have to listen to anything you're saying because I just said this silly little meme that discounts anything. But like, Bob coming on here, like, one of the biggest revelations too is that you can believe in Tartaria and not believe in flat earth. But if you believe in flat earth, Tartaria makes more sense, because just the premise of flat earth is like everything's alive. Therefore, why doesn't Tartaria have more credibility?
The only thing I want to correct you on there, man, is we don't believe the Earth is flat. We know it is.
They
And
know
so
it.
we can have theories outside of that. We know
In-
the Earth is flat.
Let me just throw a little paradox on that, because you mentioned this solipsism of like brain in a vat, like I can't believe anything if it happened before I was born. If you're brain in a vat, or if we're possibly a simulation, then you definitely don't know it. You know that maybe that's one of the confines of the simulation that your brain is experiencing and dealing with input and output. But that
Right, but
doesn't
it's still
mean
provably flat. It doesn't matter if it's fake or real. It's provably flat.
that doesn't make any sense to me. If it's fake,
Yeah,
then
if it's a
not.
computer creation, if it's a fake realm, I can still prove that this fake realm that is a computer simulation is flat.
Okay.
If this ground that we're standing on is actual ground and not code, I can prove that's flat also. It
Only
doesn't matter.
within the
Either way,
confines of that system, though. Like you are limited to your proof existing in the same reality that you yourself are experiencing. So without
yeah,
being an
that is-
outside observer, I guess a more philosophical approach. I don't think any human being can declare absolute truth, because it's all just neurons firing inside of a weird like meat brain, sponge.
Sure, but we all see it. So there is some unity in this idea, because we all see and experience the same thing, and the same thing that we all see and experience is flat as fuck.
But it could be a projection or a hologram or a simulation.
Doesn't make it not flat.
Well, I mean, I would argue that if you're relying on your sight, which is, like processing external stimuli, and it goes through and you interpret it, we might not all see the same thing. Like you and I might both think we're seeing the same thing, but we're interpreting it differently, but we don't have the words
And I
to
took
describe the
mushrooms,
differences.
So I see different. I took mushrooms.
But yeah, so but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but we all do see the same realm.
I get my
for lack
summary
of a
here was
better
that
term.
this is such a deeper rabbit hole, because
Yeah.
again, like once you pull into question physical reality and all of history, like when do you stop questioning things? It's like an infinite
Oh,
rabbit
it's
hole.
like the
you know?
19
I'm a
1800s and
huge fan
before,
of simulation theory. I'm a huge fan of simulation theory. Like I was
So-
a simulation theory guy well before I was.
Have
I
you
knew
hit
the
have you
Earth
hit
was
like a
flat.
certain depth of the rabbit hole where you were like, I need to take a step back and work
Oh, yeah, I
myself
don't-
back up?
Well,
What was
I'm not
that
working
bottom?
myself
Like what did you see when you got as far deep down as you were gonna get?
Well, it's not that what I saw. It's just that I was spending way too much time with this shit. Like, right? Like I got to a point where I was like, all right, everything's fucking fake. None of this shit's real.
I still gotta
the
go to
only
work
thing that
tomorrow
ma-
though, right?
Well, yeah, the only thing that matters is providing for my family, trying to remove myself from the system. I did a podcast with Joe and Jen from Legit Bat recently, and we just talked about how everything is a distraction. How everything is a distraction. All these rabbit holes, Tartaria, Atlantis, Flat Earth, freaking energy realm shit. It's all a distraction away from what we're supposed to be doing, which is growing our own food, raising our kids, having multi-generation communities. We're supposed to be living in a completely different way, and this is all a distraction just to keep us in this fucked up form of existence. So
No
I think it's
arguments
all a
here on that.
distraction.
You have no arguments from me on that
Yeah, we
whatsoever,
can
man.
agree. We can agree that the powers that be are full of fucking shit. Now the intricacies, that's a whole different realm. That I don't think that how you're talking about how far back does it go. I mean that's a fucking deep ass rabbit hole that perhaps maybe tonight we don't have time for. But Bob, can you share the social medias again and send me your links to the email that
I will,
I
man.
sent you from? Can you share your
Sure.
social media and your podcast once more for the listeners?
Yeah, man, my podcast is Hidden in Plain Sight, of course, as we've said tonight. It's all right there in front of you, and that's why I named my podcast that. And mine has a triangle inside of an I that's also an A, and it's got like a barcode at the bottom. That's mine. Any other Hidden in Plain Sight isn't me, at least not until I change my logo, which I don't think I'll ever do. You can find me on Instagram at The Hidden Pod and at Space is Fake and Gay. That's the important
It's
part.
the best name.
I know,
I
jeez.
love the. How long do you think that one's
I
gonna
can't-
last, though?
Dude, it's already lasted way longer than I ever thought it would. When I was able to make it, I looked over at my wife. I was like, "Holy shit, they let me make it!" Like, what the fuck? I didn't even think this was gonna go through.
You might be a
So,
Freemason. You don't even know it, Bob.
No, don't say
who
that.
knows? The person that controls me might be a Freemason. You
That's
know,
true,
the
that your
person that
handler-
wrote my code might be a Freemason. Who knows, man?
That was
You
me.
guys hear me
I
still?
did that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, makes sense.
You guys hear me?
Yeah,
you-
I
but
think
you're-
your screen
okay,
is
yeah.
a little glitched, but
All right. Yeah, my shit's starting to act up. Thomas, plug your shit real quick.
Yeah, so ParanoidAmerican.com, at ParanoidAmerican on Instagram. I just make comic books about silly topics and conspiracy theories and occult research. Yeah, and Juan and I are working on a new comic series called The Chosen One, which I believe we might even touch on Tartary at some point. So we might have to rewatch this video a few times and get some ideas.
Yeah, we're gonna poke some fun at all conspiracies. We got something planned, but yeah, the comic book should be out. The first issue should be out probably in a couple weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is. We're still working
5
on
weeks,
that.
6 weeks, 8 weeks,
However
whatever.
fucking long it takes. But yeah, make sure to catch me on social media at the Juan Podcast. And Moral Bob, bro, thanks for coming on, dude. I think this was great. We touched on a lot of things today. And
I got
really
to I got to ask a whole bunch of questions. Like when you watch
Yeah,
these
man.
videos, like these questions come up, but there's no one to ask. You know, it's like, is it
Dude.
infinite? Like, hold on, you just showed that map. Go back to that map, and they never go back to it. So it was
dude,
awesome
any
being able to
questions
talk
you
about
have,
it.
I will take any question you have, man,
I-
because
I
it
was
helps
that
me
guy.
out too.
I gotta say, I was that guy in school that everyone hated. Like the bell rang and everyone's like ready to go, and then I'm like, hey, I got a couple questions. Like 45 minutes later, everyone's like, shut the fuck up, bro. That was me 100%, man.
Well, we gotta do this again, Bob. Thank you so much
Hell
for
yeah.
coming on, bro. And you too, Thomas. Thanks for sticking around. And thank you for those who are listening and stuck around this long. I'll catch you on the other side.